Hey YouTube. So last video I heard something. It was actually ended up being a deer, which again I can't hunt. So it's fun to watch them in the woods and sneak up, but that's about all I can do. So I went and started moving around to a different spot, and I got me thinking about some more advice. Uh, one of the first items you should always carry in one of your pockets, always with you, is toilet paper, because oftentimes you just have to go to the bathroom when you're out in the woods, and that can be a really crappy situation. Ha ha ha! Funny, but the thing is if you've ever seen a cat go to the bathroom, what do? They dig a little bit, they pee or crap in it, and then they bury it. And well, everybody's like, "Oh, that's nice. They're cleaning it up." No, what they're doing is they're masking their scent because they're in an area that they probably are hunting near, and they don't want to demonstrate that there's a predator. So of course, obviously, imagine a mountain lion out here, much bigger cat, right? Um, it does the same thing, and that's because it doesn't want everything out here to know that it's there, because anything that knows about a predator being in the area will want to move. So make sure if you go to the bathroom, do not, as they always say, don't crap where you eat. Well, in this case, don't where you hunt. If you've got to go, find somewhere else nearby, 100, 200 yards away, dig a hole and bury that crap. Because, man, you want to scare something away? Real story here. I was out walking, hunting elk last year, and I just was like, man, I gotta pee so bad, coffee, right? And so there's like me and just a bunch of bushes out, about 100 yards in front of me, a little canyon, and nothing's moving. I was just like, yeah, this is a good spot. So I start going to the bathroom, and then all of a sudden, like 10 seconds into this, I I hear this boom, and this deer just gets up out of the grass and just takes off running for its life. And I was like, I, I was like 50 yards away from this thing, and it didn't even know it was there. But of course, once it started going to the bathroom, it smelled the smell, and bam, it was gone. And I didn't move either. So we're talking, just the smell is bad enough. So since we're on the topic of smell, um, let me give you some. This is the Joel advice, right? Or of what to do when you're out trying to avoid your scent. You want to make sure as you're out hunting that you smell like the woods. Um, what I do is I will take a shower, usually the morning of or the night before, in just water and baking soda, and I just wash my entire body with baking soda and water, and then I just sleep in regular, clothes. I'm not too worried about smells there, because then what I do is I take my clothes, all of them, from my gloves to my hat, my face mask, everything, even my release, socks, shoes, and I stick them all inside one of those plastic tubs that you get from Walmart. They're like, let's say, 40 quarts or 20 quarts or something. Anyway, it's big enough to hold a bunch of your stuff. They're like $5 plastic tubs. And so I throw all my stuff in there. And then what I do is I take branches from the ground, dirt from the ground, from the woods, and just pieces of grass, all kinds of clippings from the ground here that's already either dead or, just whatever, and I throw it inside that bucket. And I just let it sit there and stew. Sometimes I even leave that tub in my car, and then it'll sit there and get hotter, and it just kind of cooks that smell of the forest into my clothes. And the last two elk that I saw, they didn't even know what I was, and they didn't even see me, except for, I think the orange glowing, I think, was kind of, they didn't break up my silhouette very well, so it's irritating. But whatever, I'll get them again. And so the other thing is I will wash. So I, of course, will do my own laundry, especially during hunting season. So I will wash my regular work clothes in just a little bit of laundry soap and water to kind of clean out the washing machine, and then I'll run that through the dryer, and then I'll take my hunting clothes, everything that I wear, that I've got on right now, and I will put it on a small little cycle of just, spin and rinse kind of thing, and I just put baking soda in there. That's it. No detergents, no anything else. So that way I don't have any detergent, any smell, or anything else that smells like something that they wouldn't expect. And then instead of if the dryer doesn't smell, then Sometimes I can put some of that stuff in the dryer on just air tumble or just to get it to dry. But if it's a dry day, then I'll actually try to hang it outside so it actually absorbs the outside air. And of course, last time I did that, my next door neighbor starts smoking a cigar, and I'm like, dude, really? Like, the one time I need to like dry my clothes outside and there's like cigar smoke. I'm like, that's exactly what I don't want the elk to smell. Anything human. But speaking of smells though, so whenever you come over a hill or you're walking through the woods, always look around. Because you have gloves and you have mask on, you typically don't feel the wind as much. But so you want to look at the grass, look at the leaves, and see if you can figure out which direction the wind is blowing, because you always want to stay with the direction of the wind in your face, or at least to the side, and then hunt that side where the wind is coming from. That way you're not in a situation where something smells you and then they take off running before you even have the chance to maybe see it, and then stalk onto it. The next thing is motion. Motion is huge out here. I cannot tell you how many squirrels that I see, and I see them because they just move. You see the little flicker of their tail. It's a little quick, or they just bound across the woods. Any kind of motion that's vertical or horizontal, it doesn't matter. The movement of a leaf seems to make a big difference out here because everything is so still. So your motion sense is keen, and elk are the exact same way. So when you're walking through the woods, even this right here, just this motion is very distracting, and it's also very easy to spot and spook something and say, hey, what is that? And it gives them more reason to stop and then pause and then look. And what you don't want is that to happen. You want to be walking through and stopping, and then you want to be able to, while you're stopping, see them, like I did with that deer over there a few minutes ago, where I stopped, I saw it, and I heard it before it even knew what I was or even found me, and it never knew what I was. So that's important to make sure that you keep your motion to a minimum. If you're going to scratch your nose or move your arm, you want to have very little movement and do it very, very slowly, because motion out here matters a lot. So keep your motion very slight. As you, like, if I'm turning my head, I'm doing it real slowly. I'm not doing this, because as soon as I do that bill of my hat and everything else just moved quick, and something out there could be like, hey, what is that? Let me investigate that more, or just stop. And it's not good. So we covered motion, we've covered the smell. Now the next thing is sound. You've got to keep your sounds minimal. Obviously turn off your cell phone. If you have a GoPro, make sure you don't have the beep on. You're going to make sound when you walk through the forest. Elk make sound when they walk through the forest. They've snapped twigs, and I've heard them. So I think it's a matter of, if you make a sound, stop and just don't move and just listen. Count to about 25 and just wait. Look all around, and then when you look, don't forget to look behind you. Not because something's hunting you, it's because you have a 360 view and you're just missing like half of it because you're just going one direction. And it's very common for something to walk in your path behind you, and you wouldn't even known if you didn't look behind you. So give yourself an advantage and cover more ground by looking every single direction, including back. And then when you're hunting and you're walking out, like I'm on the national forest right now, my issue sometimes is I'll run across a little plot of private land, and in that private land I found that it'll say, obviously posted or something. Sometimes, and like right now there's not even a fence that I found. So typically what I find is the elk, they usually will run off to private land because they know, hey, I can go there and things aren't chasing me or pursuing me as much. So I would suggest find the boundary of all of the private lands near your hunting spot and make a patrol along that property boundary, because more times than not they will cross between the two. But if you're on the private, or if you're on the obviously you need to stay on the legal property that you can hunt on. You don't have, I would say, written permission from a landowner, which I doubt you're going to get, because let's face it, most landowners hate us hunters. There's 10% of hunters are absolutely stupid idiots. They just run around and fire rounds into the forest. Most of them, I would say, are rifle hunters. And I've seen guys out there drinking the night before, and they're like buzz hangover, and they just jump in their pickup trucks, drive around, and then they just look through the woods, and if they hear something, they just shoot at it. I mean, we're talking like the worst of the worst hunters, and that's what we have to fight against. And then there's the guys like you and me, where we're the ethical ones, right? We are out here trying to do the right thing. We're trying to actually do this with our bows, and we're trying to sneak in, and we're trying to be quiet and stealthy, but we're also trying to use our all the good things in life that we have built up, like our integrity, where we don't hunt with lights against the law. We don't get out here too early or too late and poach. We respect the rules of the land. So when the sun goes down and hunting hours are over, then if you see something, you're like, well, I'll get you tomorrow, maybe, but not today, because I'm not breaking the rules. And that's what I think sets us archers apart from the other hunters, honestly. I mean, I know that other hunters are, when I was a rifle hunter, I still follow those rules, but I'm even more strict now with what I follow, just because I don't want there to be even a question. And so that way, it's hard for us that are the good hunters to go out to someone's land and say, hey, would you mind if I was able to just, walk through your property and look for, elk? And I haven't done this yet. I'm going to try it just to see, but I know what I would say. I'd probably be like, no, that's okay, thanks. Because I don't even like people coming to my door and trying to sell me DirecTV. Why would I let someone walk through my property and try to shoot something, right? But the only reason why I think us archers have an advantage is I think the industry, the world seems to know that archers are kind of we're the elite of the hunting force, and we're the ones that actually have to be even more stealthy. And let's face it, we can't just kill things with our arrows. Arrows are expensive. Arrows are hard to. You're not going to shoot at 4 miles with an arrow. You just can't do it. Arrows are going to be shot within about 40 yards or less. And we're going to make sure everything is perfect in that scenario, because we are not going to fail that opportunity. So I keep hearing something moving around. So anyway, that's the thing, is hunt the edge of someone's property, but absolutely do not cross a person's boundary, and find out what those boundaries are. So that way you don't break the rules. It's very important to ethically take your game. That way you know exactly that, because in the event that you shoot an animal and you happen to be near private property, it could run across that private property and go into it and then die. Now you've got another situation you have to figure out. So it's kind of a gamble. I didn't say you have to shoot it in that direction, but I would definitely say if you see something, you should absolutely find out where it's going and see if you can track it to where it hits public land and then ambush it there. Archery is all about planning and focusing on doing the right behaviors and making sure that you're actually in the right the entire time, because you screw up just a little bit, you just let a little bit slip, and you're going to be out of luck. That's just how it works. So I'm going to go ahead and continue down this ridge. I'm going to walk another couple 400 or 500 yards, so just stop again, just listen. I have a feeling I haven't seen a lot of elk sign in here, but there has been elk poop, which means that there are elk in here. I've just got to find them, and it doesn't seem like the whispering sound seems to bother stuff. So I guess I'll just keep making these videos, giving you guys some more advice. But hang in there. Elk hunting is not something you get done in a day. This has been weeks. I started this about 3 weeks ago, and I've had 2 opportunities to shoot. The first one, a dog started barking and spooked the elk and it ran off. And the second one, I told you in the previous video, I just panicked and fired too quickly, and that was my own mistake. A very junior mistake to make, but it just, you're like, oh my God, this is the one chance, I gotta get it, I gotta go, miss. And it was just frustrating. But you shake it off. The elk obviously is going to shake it off and forget about it in a couple of days. So should I. I've just learned from my mistakes on that one. So when you happen to brush up an elk or hear something, you need to get in your head that, look, my family hopefully is not starving to death, so I don't have to have this elk. This would be a good opportunity, but if I don't do this right, I'm not going to get this at all anyway. So let's just play this by ear and watch carefully. Remember to, when you sit down or wherever you're at, range find your trees, figure out where your shooting lanes are, and then if something comes through but doesn't cross your shooting lane, then you just need to not take the shot. because I tell you, that feeling after you fired an arrow and you missed and you're just sitting there trying to track it and look for, look for blood and see if you can find your arrow and you can't, and it wasn't a good situation last time. I didn't hit the elk, I'm sure of it, because I saw them later and there was no issues with it. It wasn't like limping or bleeding or anything. There's no blood anywhere. But I wasted 2 hours, and I wasted a good arrow because I fired too quickly. So make sure you guys are just doing the right thing. Pause, take your deep breath, relax, because you know how to shoot. You just got to remember to calm yourself down and squeeze that trigger. Once you have everything lined up, when you get your draw exactly where it's always been. That's why when you shoot your bow, you need to make sure you have your face mask, your hat, whatever else you've got on. Make sure it's the same release. Everything you've got is going to be the same. And my bow will shoot a little bit differently, even if I have my GoPro and my quiver on it. So I shoot with those on, just so that way when I'm getting in the real motion, I don't fail. So, and then make sure you check your level on your sight. All those things you do as you're gonna fire. Just practice. And if you do miss and you have that situation like me, don't let it get you down. Your confidence is going to be shot for like about a day. So you need to get your target out there and you need to go shoot some rounds and start at 20 yards, hit your target bullseyes, and be like, yeah, you know what? I got this. I'm good. I just panicked. Not a big deal. I've done this before, so it's not a big, this isn't the first guy that ever did this. Because if you research online, like everybody's like, yep, totally been there, buddy. It's just like the first time you're hanging out with a girl. And yeah, that isn't. You decide to go for the good time, and then blow your wad a little early, like way too early, because you got too excited and just let her go. Yeah, archery's the same way. You got to settle yourself down and just be like, this is not going to be my last opportunity. Let's get this right. So, all right, guys, be again safe out there. Pay attention, follow the rules, enjoy yourselves. I have my GoPro. I'll show you next time how I have this mounted on my bow, and then you can, if you want to mimic that, cool. But I like these just quick self videos. So have yourself a good day, and I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks.